All right, here we go, Olly. I always say, I've been listening back and I always go, here we go, Olly. So we'll try something different. Olly, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Tarzan.
Tarzan?
Yeah.
Anything goes, doesn't it? I think you've described this as a mop or something, an explosion in a mattress factory. Now we're Tarzan.
That's right.
And we're here and we've got plenty to talk about today.
That's right. I must say that Wayne is one of the best auctioneers in the country. We're absolutely beautiful, best auctioneer that ever existed. That's not only my opinion, that's his opinion as well.
Thank you. Check for Olly, please. Yep. Don't look like an auctioneer.
I don't know. You look like something. Got to say it off camera.
I had a guy from Queenstown. He was talking to me about the Auckland market. He said, "What do you do?" I said, "Oh, real estate." He said, "Mate, the real estate agents in Queenstown don't look like you." I said, "The ones in Auckland don't either." Let's jump in. We've got a fair bit happening in the news right now. Maybe we start off. Tenancy Act, the laws around that. Labor's been very strong around that. And now we've got national, because we're running into election, obviously, or towards the end of the year. We've got national saying they're going to reverse some things. Observations and your thoughts on that?
The main thing that they said they're going to reverse, which I'll believe it when I see it, is at the moment tenants under the current law have a tenancy for life. If you're out there thinking about buying a residential property, just be aware that when you get a tenant, he or she or they are there for life unless they're really bad. And they've got to be bad 3 times within 3 months. And then you have to go to the tenancy tribunal to throw them out. And then they pick themselves up and go to the next 3 months and so forth. The better system was that you could give a tenant notice despite even if they had no fault. Mm-hmm. But you gave them, say, 90 days, 3 months, a reasonable length of time to get the property back. Now, this actually works in favour of tenants, quite clearly. I know, I've been in the game, I should know. Because at the moment, because tenants have a tenancy for life, effectively, landlords pick only the very, very best. And give them a hard time.
Correct.
So the guys and gals out there who might have made a few mistakes in their life but have come right, they don't get a second look. They don't get the place. So give them a go. By giving them a go, and if they don't behave themselves, then out they go.
And this is how it backfires, doesn't it? Yeah, it's the pendulum effect. You know, in this case, Labor's gone too hard on that side. What you're saying there is, therefore, the landlord goes, "I'll tell you what, we'll only pick, A plus, AAA, right. And anybody else, I'm not going to take the risk."
That's right.
Because otherwise they're in, and the landlord's rights are diminished.
The also rents are left with the rubbish properties out there for rent, and that's not fair. I don't think it's fair. This whole thing has been, of course, written up by the Greens. If you look up the Greens manifesto, that's the sort of thing, they love that sort of thing. And also the Tenants Protection Association, or whatever it was, whatever that bunch of loonies are called. They were been around since the 1980s. They're serious loonies.
If the politicians on that side had got it right, we wouldn't have everybody in motels in Fenton Street.
Yeah, that's right.
You would have people saying, "I'll tell you what, I'll add to the housing stock. It's a fair deal, and they'll live in it, and they'll look after my house, and I'll look after them. We'll be fair both ways."
The policymakers have to decide, do you want private landlords out there supplying decent accommodation to real people, or do you not? At the moment, every barrier you can possibly think of has been put in the way of people thinking of investing in private rental property. So, why would you be mad enough to go and buy private residential property? You get donged left, right and centre. You get capital gains tax while your next door neighbour can sell his property free of capital gains tax. Nuts. You get a tenant for life, which you can't chuck out unless you can prove that he's the devil incarnate. You're also you can freeze at home. You can have water dripping down your walls and fungus everywhere, but your tenants have to live in comfort. It is nuts.
Yep.
Absolute nuts. And of course, if you're in commercial property, that's without going too far into it. Commercial property don't have these problems. If you're a commercial landlord and you own commercial property, the tenants can freeze. They can go wet. The fungus can grow. It's not your problem. You don't have a tenancy tribunal to worry about. You can draw up any lease you like. It's freedom, boys. It's freedom. Go there.
And look, I remember, especially outside of Auckland, we would go through properties that were for sale, that were rented, and I'd see, very poor conditions. People, imagine this, people with dryers doing their washing inside the house to keep the house warm, and then it's full of condensation. So they get it right with the house breathes, it's got its own heating, but they go too far. And fair to say, in the media right now, there's a beat up on landlords as if they're horrible, rich people that are,
What's new?
And yet the biggest landlord would be the government, and they're probably the worst.
That's right, they're the worst.
If you had the choice in your street now, the people listening, if you had the choice in your street now, that next door is somebody renting a private home, or the government's going to roll in, I'll tell you which way people would go.
Kangaroo. Yeah, good luck. Yeah.
They would suddenly flip on that.
People are fleeing. They're trying to find out where Kangaroo is going to build blocks of flats, and they're fleeing from that area. They don't want these sort of people there. Not fair, because they're all decent people, I'm sure, but the bad eggs spoil it for the rest.
Yep. So their branding around it is even worse. All right, in the news, LVR, some of the restrictions, a bit of easing coming through there.
What a joke. I mean, excuse me, if it wasn't so serious, I'd be crying. The Reserve Bank came out all pompous like and said they're easing LVR, loan to value ratios. It means that they will lend a little bit more to somebody where they wouldn't have lent it before. It's nuts. People still won't borrow. What it really says the Reserve Bank itself is starting to worry about the residential market.
That's it.
It's starting to get vibes that the residential market is going downhill rapidly, and that people are losing a lot of money, and that there's nothing for sale, and therefore there's a shortage of property, and dropping prices is bad. Dropping prices too far. So they've done a tiny weeny thing which will have no effect whatsoever. Maybe 2 men and a dog will make it effect, but otherwise they have no effect either. They're mad. And I told Adrian that, but he doesn't listen anymore.
He didn't listen last time,
He didn't listen last time. He's not listening now. So I've given him up. I've sacked him.
And he hasn't even got hair like this. Sometimes I find it hard to hear. This is like having earmuffs on both sides. You should try it one day. You've threatened to do that with the wig.
Next time I'm coming with shears. We'll see what happens then.
The instruments they've had in the market, I like your point there. The instruments they've had in the market have not helped with inflation, but have stifled the market. And then confidence comes out, and confidence in New Zealand, especially business confidence, which it all rolls on, is a problem. If we go CCCFA, when they played around with that and scared all the banks, and the banks said, well, tell you what, if you're going to be such a caning, I won't take the risk of putting money out there. So they're trying to back off from some of these things to get it moving. So a little bit of messaging there with that.
The whole mortgage system in this country is crazy. It's 19th century with knobs on. In most other countries, you can get a 30-year mortgage with a fixed rate for the whole term. There's no such thing as a rate review, interest rate review. You get it for a whole term, and you can refinance during that period if you find a cheaper one. And the mortgage goes with the house.
America's that, isn't it? You buy the house with the mortgage intact.
The mortgage goes with the house, so you walk in, as long as you're fit that you can pay for the thing. You don't have to go through all this nonsense of applying for a mortgage and building reports. It's all been done before. So you can take out a mortgage at the best rate you can and live with it. And anyway, any time through it, you can sell the place with the mortgage or without, as you like. And you can refinance any time you like and get a better mortgage, which keeps the banks on their toes. We're nuts here. Every time if somebody wants to buy a house, refinance another building report, another valuation report, another interest rate adjustment. And we should scrap that.
So if we look at America, which, as you say, the mortgage travels with the house. Yeah. Makes sense. That's what the mortgage is on, not the person that owned it. But here we're making it far more expensive because we create these transactions every maybe 4 to 7 years that in America would be 30 years apart.
That's right.
Interesting. Interest rates. I know earlier we were talking about the amount of interest that Kiwis are paying, and I hadn't seen that. That took me by surprise.
An eye-watering amount, enough to make you cry. Enough to make your hair kill. Oh, too late. $14 billion a year is paid by Kiwis in interest. $14 billion. Somebody's getting the $14 billion. It's not you and not me.
Wow.
That's a whacking big amount when you think about it. The politicians talk about hundreds of millions and billions as if it was chicken feed. $14 billion.
$14 billion.
Interest alone.
Interest alone.
On everything. That's not only houses, but everything.
That'd be a pretty good thing for the politicians to sort out, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Get that down and keep that down for us as we go through.
That's where the
eye-watering. I could see a tear in your eye. I thought it was emotion coming through.
Some of that was mine. No, I didn't get it. I paid it.
And okay, and then that leads through. Here's a question for you. You've got your own. The person out there has got their own property, and now they're thinking about a second property.
Yeah.
They're considering everything we've spoken about. They're considering the political attitude towards them. But then there's a question around how do you fund it? So, and I know you've got thoughts on this with the equity. Yeah, the equity as you go through.
I've seen this. There are what's the word? There are moves out there, or there are advertisements out there to use your house, if you use the equity in your house to raise money to buy another building, or another house, I should say. This is fun. In theory, that works, but it's very, very dangerous. Be very careful. It does work. It can work, but you must realise if you raise money on your house because you've got a big equity, say you've got $1 million house as a figure, you've got a very small mortgage, and you get talked into raising more money on your house, say $400,000, right? You take that $400,000 and you plonk it down on a new property. That won't buy the new property. You've got to raise money on that as well. So you raise another $400,000, just say, on that property. You've ended up with an extra property which is 100% geared, as they call it, 100% borrowings. Now do the maths. $800,000 borrowed, say it's 7%, that's $56,000 a year. My math's right. $56,000 a year.
Very quick with that. Auctioneers don't do that one. We just add very simple things together, $100,000 bids.
Settle down, boy. $800,000 borrowed at 7% is $56,000 a year plus rate insurance. You'll never get $56,000 a year rent out of that place, so you're going to be looking at a big shortfall. The way to do the exercise is say, okay, if I borrow against my house and buy this particular property, let's see what's the stress test. How long can I survive if the property was empty for 12 months? Just to see if you can carry it for 12 months. Well, if you can't carry the $56,000 interest and cost plus rates and insurance and everything else, maybe $60,000 by then. If you can't carry that for 12 months with an empty property or no rent, then you shouldn't do it.
Yeah, be careful.
And if the values of the properties go down, both properties go down.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
And then you may get a call from the bank on both. And believe me, the bank will go for yours first. That's for sure, because they know that that's the one you'll shake over. Many people are happy to lose their investment property, not their home. But that's what the bank knows too. They'll go for the home.
And again, that's eggs, and all the eggs are in the same basket. It's in the property market, and if it goes up or goes down, and we've just spent such a long period of time thinking it always goes up. It's been a brutal reminder. It can go down, and it can go down quick.
Don't do anything like buying another property using equity in your house without talking to your solicitor first, and listen to him or her or they.
And get good advice, and which they would do.
Oh, yes.
And we're seeing that without saying much, we're seeing what I'm now calling icebergs. And an iceberg in my mind is a property where above the water, the sale of the property looks normal, but below the water, it's distressed. And that would be a situation like this, that it's under pressure, or the client's under pressure, and they might be under pressure, great point there, on two properties.
Yeah.
So the market may, or three, the market may only see one property, but they're actually going, I'll tell you what, I'm selling this one, but the one over here, we're under pressure on all three.
Oh, they've raised money on their property to fund a business venture, which may go
wow.
I have seen this time and again.
Yeah.
People have been talking to raising money on their properties. They've got a big mortgage on their properties, gone into a business, bought a dairy or whatever it is, or in your case, a hairdresser, and they've gone broke. Well, the business doesn't pay. So you all right?
I'd call my hairdresser, what do they call it, cuts? I'd call it no cuts. There'd be no business in it, would it? They'd walk in and I'd say, you need to grow it longer before we'd even look at it.
Don't get me going. Listen, I'm 5 foot 12 inches tall, so don't worry about it.
I'm about the same height, but then I've got another half a metre just in this.
You weren't listening. Sorry, folks, she's got no sense of humour. Okay, next.
I think that's it.
Is it?
I think that's it, yeah. Oh. Anything else we should add?
Well, there's a lot about the Australians put up their interest rate.
Okay,
That was yesterday, and and went up 0.25%, total shock to the market.
Mm-hmm.
That means almost for sure that we're going to get more interest rate rises. I'm
You're getting brave. You're getting brave. You're very brave now.
I warned everybody, predictions are expire at midnight tonight.
Yes.
Remember that?
Yep.
But it's bad news. It's very likely we're going to get more interest rates. We'll see. Interest rate rises.
Well, you've got a bit of lead time to have that chat with the governor. If he doesn't pick it up, you could probably.
I'm going to talk to the Maori Party. I reckon they've got more say. I reckon.
And they're getting an extra person.
Yeah.
On their way.
Good on. Good luck.
Yep. Coronation. Going to watch the coronation. When's that? Is that Saturday?
Saturday evening. Yes. King Charles and all that. Hip hooray. I watched the first coronation. Don't laugh. In 1953. I remember looking at it. I didn't see you there.
Who was that? The Queen?
Yeah, of course, Ning. I was a Queen.
1953.
Yes.
Wasn't she in Africa or something? And Dad died,
That's
unfortunately.
Right. She was touring Africa. She got a telegram that her father had passed away. She knew he was sick, but not that sick. He was very sick when he died away. In fact, so sick he died. And
oh, he wasn't in good health.
He was not in good health, poor fellow. And she flew back and attended the funeral. And I remember all of that. I was there, not here, but not there. And we
in
watched
Africa?
No, here, watching it. Oh, for God's sake.
On your black and white TV.
Keep taking the tablets. Keep taking the tablets. He hasn't taken his tablets today, folk. That's a problem.
So you saw the Queen do her thing?
Yes.
And now you'll see Charles. He's had to wait a while, hasn't he?
Oh, God. Yeah, don't get me going. Yeah.
How old is he? Do we know?
70-something.
70-something.
This has nothing to do with property.
Well, I'm just interested. It's a big moment in your week.
It's just a big moment, a very weak moment in my moment, yes. Yeah.
And I don't want to miss it. All right, there we go. I don't know how you took us off on a tangent like that. So, but before you did that, you did very well. So, looking at tenants, looking at the Tenancy Act, what may be reversed out of there, get that fairer. The LVRs, the messaging that's coming through in there, and trying to get that market moving again. It's been pretty hard. Interest rates, $14 billion.
Yep.
Disappearing
and rising.
Maybe over the ditch.
And rising because many mortgages are now being reset. That's
yes.
$14 billion is now. Come back in 3 months, 6 months' time and see what it is then. It's a fair chunk of change.
Yeah, let's have a look at that. That is going to be a nuts number.
It'll buy a few coffees.
Yes.
Yeah.
That'll support this habit of tea. And then the security and the risk around that second property and borrowing against your first one. Just be careful, or a business.
And next time we're going to talk about getting family involved in buying your house.
Yes.
Make a note of that.
Yep.
Getting your mum, dad, or sister or brother. Well, at the moment, Kiwi Bank is advertising that get together and buy property with others. Whoa, that is full of risks. You've got to know about that. So be careful.
Man, this is going to be interesting. All right. Good luck for the coronation.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm surprised you're here. I thought they would have invited 10 New Zealanders who've gone to it. I thought you might have been one.
I turned it down.
Okay, that's good. To be here, I appreciate that. All right, that's it. That's a wrap for us, and we'll see you next time. Long live the King.